also teams do begin to come towards those finals, I think it is important to note, even though squads such as Geeky, such as Nigma here, aren't really competing for more than, of course, the prize money, which still is important in its own regard. You have to look at now their consistency in terms of their new styles. In Nigma, something I believe you touched on with Monica yesterday in Pachinki, have kind of felt like a bit lackluster almost. Whereas they have been overtaken by teams, they have struggled on rotations more towards these Pachinki facing zones. I'm curious now that given the fact that they clearly have qualified through to those finals, are they going to change up their way and are they going to be more adaptive?
I think they already have, and I think throughout this PMPL they have been changing up the way they play, and it was evident in the spring split. I think it's just as evident in the fall split. Um, it's why I've kind of also said yesterday that it's
Mm,
Nigma just doing Nigma things.
yeah.
They're within reason and entity upon themselves, and even though uh, in one dimension um they shouldn't rely on what was the successes of the past in the form of the third place in PMGC. That does afford them a level of trust in this kind of lobby that is arguably even strong, even though it's strong, is weaker than a PMGC final. So we deserve to kind of say, hey, let's trust the process, similar to what we did with Nova in the PMGC East itself.
Right.
So I'm okay with what Nigma are doing. I'll kind of highlight the weaknesses of a later rotation, but it doesn't take away from the trust that I have in their process leading into the finals.
A few changes, of course, to be noted. For one, for me, I think Skyrocket instead now going to Nova, whereas Oradur, of course, taking more of his military base in the early game. Sliding downwards on that camera as we can see more of these teams rotating through the coastal line at the south of mainland Erangel. I'm also kind of disappointed, in a way, to kind of talk a bit more lightheartedly, Imperium. I feel like we just haven't seen that many South Island finishes, at least for my
No.
casting. I feel like it's been more towards Gatka a lot, and I'm kind of disappointed. I want to see some more tricky bridge crossings. I want to see these teams pressured, because it feels like it's been ages since we saw bridge
Yeah,
issues.
you're right, man. Yeah, I think we've only had one,
Right.
maximum two across the Rango games of PMPL, and yeah, okay, the Southwest initial circles do threaten a military island finish, but indeed we haven't really seen too many core ones. Now, Vista Gaming, you can see they're trying to send back the likes of the only one across the South Pachiki hillside, putting on a bit of pressure from this compound that is quite well balanced between the coastline and that Chinky Hill position. Once they make noise, puff up their chest, they will create that space. The phase one blue zone starting to close in. We still have a couple of teams inside the blue RTG up and towards the north, and some Skyrockets down on the southwest.
NASA as well, controlling a few of these teams, as we said, rotating at the end of his phase one into phase two now. A few of those locating him inside of Gatka. Gatka feels his south. GK going to be heading from their direction from here, Roshawk, in towards that location. A lot of teams are very centered in on this zone. I've been almost more surprised that they have been so controlled in their aggression, though. It always impresses me in, I think, PMPL Arabia more so Imperium, because they all take these center points. But then on the other hand, they don't fight, actually. They have such control over their own positions.
Great by Nasser to have a 3-1 split, and you saw the shots that they were taking on a couple of teams around them.
Yeah.
I believe it was Geeky. It just affords them just a little bit more room, and as the next circle will pop up, it will allow them to react a little bit quicker, a little bit more cohesively. They have now joined up as a full squad in this one area. The circle on phase two shifts up north. It cluster teams, a lot of traffic now along the south bank side between Gatka and Ferry Pier.
Very interesting zone, of course. Not only confirming that it will be away from the south end, Oradu now also Skyrocket's going to have to rotate away from that southern island as the zone comes in behind him. But the fact that not only Gatka feels is in play, but you've got the Observatory, you've got Everest, all of these crucial high points inside this zone, even Quarry down the south Imperium, all going to be important factors, as unfortunately as is maybe the first one to fall here in our first game.
I give a lot of credit to Power Esports on their aggression, on their ability to pull out successful results on Erangel. One of their weaknesses, however, is that they play a little bit too solo at times, where they're not as synergistic, they're not as together in their formations, in their positionings, that they kind of go in onto engages one by one. And there's a little bit of evidence there, right? The scramble of the reaction to the circle. And to me, I don't know who their IGL is, but that does say to me that the IGL isn't doing quite enough of a job to keep the team together in one area. And it's something that they could certainly adjust a bit more heavily coming into the finals.
And the crucial part about this, in the way that the format works in the calendar, Imperium, is if they do have that time to improve, they've got about a week or so where they can make these adjustments. And I think it's even more crucial to the fact that in a tournament-specific format like this, teams can play more with completely new styles if they can afford to in these final days, because they can refine them through that week of outplay.
Of course, to remind you, the teams that we are, within reason, quite heavily keeping an eye on coming into the final Super Weekend is the likes of Ardu Thunders, Team Falcon, Skyrockets Esports, The Only One Esports, Conquer Rack, 90th Minute, and the elusive Vista Gaming. These 7 teams all vying for a top 16 spot, and there's really only kind of 3 spots available out of all the teams that I mentioned. So game by game, we are going to get closer to defining who will be the top 16 teams making it through.
Always just amazes me as well in terms of the requirement of points. I feel like it's gotten higher and higher, Imperium, as we've casted each season of the Arabian region. Now, even 2 super weekends. Not really feeling like it's enough, actually. And even Rad at 180 points. I mean, where was it last season, Imperium, that we worried about that type of scoreline?
Oh man, I'd have to look back more aggressively, but the cutoff point for teams 2 super weekends, I'm not quite sure. I will certainly look into it coming in to tomorrow to give us a greater idea. You are right, and it would certainly be on a similar trend to what we saw in terms of the league weeks coming into the super weekends, where compared to the spring split, the cutoff point for the league week qualification was a good bit higher, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that cutoff point for the top 16 coming into the finals is going to be higher compared to the spring split. Phase 3 about to pop up. It's a lovely donut shift right into the center in between Gaka, Quarry, and the fields to the southeast. Most of these teams are inside the circle. It creates a little bit more pressure for the teams who are outside, most notably Falcons, RTG, and R8.
Already Thunder's Skyrocket as well. Don't have to worry too much. You can use that kind of south side of the Quarry side of hills, where you've got the Erangel 2.0 features, but also Quarry Hill itself is still open. A lot of teams have moved away from there, so the opportunity to look over Gatka fields too. I mean, I'm just kind of happy in one sense that the evil Highland Wolf Curse of Gatka fields, or Highland Hills, as we called it last time, Imperium, is back once more. Because apparently you never got Gatka fields yesterday, but like every day I cast this season, we've got a Gatka finish.
I know. Here's the thing. I didn't even want to bring it up because it's pretty inevitable, right?
Right, exactly.
As GK,
of course.
have onto the North Chopsticks compound, a compound that Nigma held onto extremely well during the week of League Week 3, if I'm not mistaken. They do have Nasser Esports still in the compound to the south of them, and in between them is the only one holding on to a little bit of chopsticks. So these 3 teams right now don't need to move. They're in good positions. They are a threat of each other, but it's a little bit kind of a truce, right? Where it's kind of like, look, we won't shoot at each other. Let's get rid of all the teams around us, and then we can fight.
And all of these teams are very locked in their positions, of course, in the center of Gatka. I actually like the wider positions, and kind of South Skyrocket making that wide rotation around Quarry, kind of avoiding a lot of these teams. On the other hand, though, North side not playing out too much as well. I mean, I am concerned a bit about Major and R8 kind of coming quite close together currently, as also RTG locked a little bit, and the other hand, as we said, towards that center point. But as we jump towards that north side, Imperium, R8 Major Prize, they have met each other indeed.
Major Pride looking to try and control the radio tower. This is outside the circle. I said it was going to be difficult for R8, but I think they made the right call in their timing of the rotation across that northwestern edge of the circle. Plus, Major Pride made a major mistake by not really solidifying much quicker together off the back of that phase 3 shift.
Right, and Nomi, as we said, is so far out of this fight. I mean, only now coming in, but has to completely rush further forward at risk of their own position. Nomi does get 30 knock, and R8 can't confirm that adaptivity of Major, and they will lose the players indeed. There goes the second as SK Ton will fall as well, and R8 now stuck inside the blue. Barely will get the second man alive still, but it's about rotating for now between these two.
Like, Major Pride, it's amazing because they had a bit of a similar situation and a similar game yesterday where they shouldn't have come out on top of an engagement in a successful way, but they somehow did.
Yes.
And it's a little bit similar this time around. They were in no way together, and they had kind of no right of surviving in somewhat as a full squad. But lo and behold, they've been able to do it, and it does show that as a team, they're pushing their own boundaries, and they're still coming out on top of sticky situations.
Nigma as well, stuck against Conqueror, and it ain't looking good for a team that needs those points. They've already lost Calico, who seems to be very on their own. The rest of Conqueror on the entire opposite end of this compound. Now Rio also coming in. I'm kind of curious, actually, as to why Conqueror was so far ahead, or if Nigma just crashed.
Nigma, no, Conquer crashes one player. Just to try and scout it. Nigma were already there, and they got the swivel on them.
Yeah, Triple as well, finding out the edge of Falcons on this more kind of eastern side of the zone. The only one going to...
We're already there, and they got the swivel on them.
Yeah, Triple as well, finding out the edge of Falcons on this more kind of eastern side of the zone. The only one going to lose one of their players. Falcons as well are down 2. In concerning for Falcons should mean that they have to go back a bit more.
Yeah, they can afford to kind of scale back a little bit on the edge of this hillside, cover their backs a bit more, as the only one are coming in a little bit later. Lots of smokes be thrown out. We'll make the only one aware as they try and drive around. Falcons are committing to the revive? No way you're actually committing to the revive off the back of a team crashing in around you. That's a big mistake.
Falcons are going to pay for it in full, as all of them will fall so swift. Imperium, the only one for quick eliminations, but they too have lost 2 players. And can Triple now come into and capitalize? They seem to be going that way.
Yes, third-party opportunity for a team that came in from the east, controlling the east, and they have that space in front of them. Similar to what I said about the Falcons, scale back, cover the eastern edge, make sure no team crashes in around you, and as they look for the third-party opportunity, they need to push aggressively because time's running out on this Phase 4 Blue Zone closing in.
Yeah, Geeky off the elimination feed as well, dying to NASA. So NASA pick up a few, but NASA also fall alongside 90th. As the fight is ensuing elsewhere, but right on our screens, Triple have slowly been pushing in, but here comes the vehicles, looking for the bait-in shot. They will not fire for now. The only one very much focused on the smoke.
There you go. Push is going to go for the push on the vehicle. Clever in the back line. This is wonderful for Triple Eastwood. Maybe a little bit later than I expected, but as a team, they are crashing in, and down they take the only one.
Brilliant slow approach by Triple allows them to slowly get into the zone. They don't all rush in, take out the entirety of the only one, 0 casualties, and more importantly, Imperium now have the space to themselves. But Phase 4 almost now into Phase number 5, and they've got to be swift on the rotation.
Nigma in the center, RTG a little bit to the northeast of them. You have Conqueror down to the southeast. Vista in an absolutely wonderful compound as well, right in the center of the circle. Unfortunately, they have Yala a little bit to the north. The one thing that Vista has as an advantage is that all around that southwestern edge, as the circle centers on top of them, they're going to be able to have absolute wonderful pickings onto Major Pride and Skyrockets if they edge a little bit too slowly towards Vista. But RD Thunders, it seems like they're going for the crash.
Oradu is a bold one indeed. Instead going full in, but it's the opposite building though. So he will be able to crash successfully in, but no fight crucially occurs. But Vista have the high ground. Vista have the entirety of his compound locked down, and it's up to them to defend it.
Here's the thing. They can coexist. The one thing that our Thunders have against them is that they only have one building. So if a barrage of nades comes out from the direction of either Vista or another team, it's going to be so difficult for them to lock down that building, right? Again, because they're all together, possible revals can come through.
However, even more of these teams on the outskirts, this eastern edge, as we said, Triple making that big rotation in. Unfortunately, already losing Ali. They're a bit slow in that move, though, in RTG have already spied them, and it's unfortunate now is a lot of smokes, a lot of those utilities had been used in that last engagement. More nades are available to them than the smokes as they lay down the path and try to defend RTG away from the current revive.
Power down to the players on the northern side outside the circle. Lovely pre-shots coming out from Triple Esports amongst the smoke. It's important that they just continue to suppress the likes of RTG off the edge of the circle and push in and make that control their own. Power go down. It wasn't going to be easy, and they are eliminated.
Triple as well. They've gone for a 2-2 split even. I mean, on the map here, NASA, who also spied them. And Triple are outside of the zone currently, very far. And in phase 5, you cannot be caught here outside it, which is why they seem to be pushing hard onto NASA. Find the one. Unfortunately, NASA still struggling with her own knocks versus, I believe, Yala from inside the zone. And Uaz capitalizing, stopping the push for now. But it doesn't solve their problem still if they aren't inside of that safety.
But here's the thing, that doesn't matter because they are doing the best job in the world of creating that space to enter the circle, push in onto the vehicle. He gets out of it, finds another knock at the Nasser Esports, and this is perfect for Triple Esports Highland Wolves.
And they get rid of Batika as well, far on the edge, and Nassau being ruined in on this northern face, and they do get inside of the zone. That was a crucial part. Skyrocket as well, fighting now on the other flank of Major Pride, right on the edge of the zone. The nades come in, and Nomi is on the bottom of the hill, and he's being bombarded.
This is an important engagement for Skyrockets. They're looking to try and create that cushion coming into the top 16. Bunch ahead of the pack. They had a great start to yesterday's games. A grand total of something like 66 points across the 5 games yesterday. But they need to continue to follow it up.
They need to get into this zone, and it's step 1. Remove Major Pride from the equation. Now very close together, Major. Frozen keeping themselves alive, barely at the edge of that nade. Nomi as well, taking the edge of the fire. Frozen heals back up just in time, but Triple still on the move forwards. Triple R as Skyrocket stepping back a bit more as Major Pride returning to fire.
Both teams are pretty damn sure that there's a team in the compound to the east of them, so they need to keep it as much of an isolated fight as possible. They can smoke to the side of them to try and slow that third party back, but it's not going to be easy as a pre-nade. Oh my god, RRR takes down Rip of his own.
And they sacrifice a player there, Major, to make sure they get one themselves back. But unfortunately, it might be to their own deficit, as they're going to lose a second, lose a third. Maybe here is Frozen will also fall, and Major completely wiped in the back end. The bottom team stepping up as Skyrocket makes 6 eliminations so far.
Overall, good engagement from Skyrockets with the vehicle, but unfortunately, a slight bit of miscommunication nearly took them out of it. Yala are being pushed. Triple Esports once again continue to be proactive, continue to make moves, and although they are under a bit more pressure than previously, they're dealing with it beautifully.
And Triple now sidelining away Yala. Look, 9 eliminations for them to Imperium. They are making a stand in this first game of the day. But we've got more to go. They've got the smoke road to cross. Uaz steps out of the smoke into the fire of the Yala. And Triple, a major mistake as Sanji blows them down. But it is a bait at least, sacrificing her life, at least for the rest of Yala. Yala down to 6.
There's no need to lose a player. Triple E Sports. I still appreciate the proactivity. It's going to whittle you down to most likely 2 players. The Skyrockets play on the underside. The circle of phase 6 is closing in. Great spray by Triple R.
Down to that solo player, Imperium triple. Skyrocket have caught them, and this is not the time to have made that fight versus Yellow, as you say, as aggressively. But on the other hand, aggression is the name of the game. By Oradu, it's Vista they got to defend right now, but they've already lost their front line of 1 man. Sunrise is on the side flank, making it work. Barely dodges out to death from the nade above. Dino now steps in to cover for the fight, and Vista proactively using their members to burn away the members of Oradu.
Hopefully Enigma Galaxy can get involved on a bit of a third party and get the pinch onto Ardu Thunders. The blue zone is about to close in the next 40 seconds. Highland Wolf as a Molly comes out. Vista Gaming looking for the swivel. They're looking for the squad web on the underside, and they are back to find it.
Brilliant work by Vista. They capitalize on the health bars of each of their players, Imperium. They use each player correctly to come in and out of the fight as required. And now Sunrise goes in for the final flush. Comes out with the auto. Finds the 3 players with a grenade too. And Vista making it work in his first game.
Vista Gaming, come up on board, my friends. Up into the top 3, up to 7 eliminations. They're outside the circle, just about inside, actually, as it happens. They've Enigma to the right of them. They've Skyrockets up to the north of them. This is a 3-way dance, and it's anybody's game.
Skyrocket, so I've been on an absolute tear this match. Imperium, 9 eliminations for them as well. They have every single player up. They have the center of the zone. Enigma are in beside Vista as the neighbors each find each other. And now Lord looking for the flank round. Down on the balcony comes a low down shot. And Vista just outplays Enigma with the help of Skyrocket, dodges away. In that station now still alive.
Oh my god, that wasn't really playing him. That was a little bit of luck, but Easy comes in and says, "Oh, I got 1. I'm gonna find a 2nd."
Oh, and that station is already down. Enigma still crawling from the nade. Bit first occurred. Skyrocket, they're searching for the win. They've got everything they need. They have the momentum. Now comes the nade. Another one by Easy. Will miss Hamodi. Sunrise on the backside of the wall. Both of them separate teams, but they're all next door to each other. But Easy doesn't matter. Easy gets the job done.
Easy does, Easy goes, and now it's just 2 players left for Vista Gaming.
Now Vista looking for the final flush. It's a 2-on-3. They look for the 1. They find Ripbird on the backside. Still the shots come in. The rest of Vista, they need to stay together. Imperium, they're beginning to be a bit split. It's Skyrockets. They've come down the middle. Easy comes out in front. Gets another elimination to the books. It's playing an absolute monstrous game. And Sino will fall to Skyrocket. Take the first game of the day.